Peace, family. Hope that everyone's doing all right today. It is Sunday, sunny day out here in Georgia. I just wanted to do an update on me and baby Kismet. Everyone's wondering how we're doing, and we are doing great. Here he is, the man of the hour. We're doing good. He is 6 days old now. I know I had a few people asking some questions and wondering what the steps were to go about doing the birth the way that I did. I know it's been controversial for some people that I chose to deliver on my own in the comfort of my home. I don't think it was so much that I delivered at home, but that I did it without any medical staff or intervention. But I just want people to know that I did have, if you will, a backup plan, in case something went wrong. I don't recommend this to just anyone to just do it at home. It's been known that home births can be better for mom and baby. Just that you're delivering inside the comfort of your home. You don't have the strangers in your face, telling you what to do, when to get up, what to eat, coming in there poking and pricking you, and you can't rest. You definitely, if anyone's had a child already, you can't rest. But I've had 4 healthy births, 4 children. I delivered vaginally. My one prior to this one, my son, he was delivered naturally. That's another story for another time. I will definitely make a video on that. But I think that if you've had other natural births, I'm going to say natural without medication, I mean healthy vaginal deliveries, with no complications necessarily during your pregnancy, and feel free to try it out. I wouldn't recommend doing it without any medical staff. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. I chose that on my own, but I prepared myself for it. I was confident. For starters, that's a main thing. I should let you all know that's a main thing. You must be confident in being able to deliver that way. You cannot go into this afraid. You cannot go into this skeptical, wondering, not knowing if you can or can't do it, or, you have to do your research. You have to study about giving birth. Like I said, I was already experienced on being able to push, which I've always thought was the most beautiful part of pregnancy, was pushing. And you have to be healthy. Some people asked, I had a couple of people message me and ask what steps did I take after I had the baby. Once he was born, of course, as you could see, I scooped him out of the tub, I rubbed his back, I pat his back to get him to cry. Now understand that babies automatically cry once they hit the air. He or she, if you have a child, is underwater, is safe under that water. Remember, they're living in water for 9 months. So the way when I pushed his head out and his head sat there in that water, someone asked me, he can just sit under the water like that? Absolutely. He could have sat there for as long as he sat there, or longer, because he's still connected to the placenta, which is actually breathing for him. Now once that placenta detaches, then we start talking about he needs to breathe on his own. But as long as he's attached to that placenta, he's perfectly fine. Of course, I snatched him up quickly, just to be on the safe side, because I was doing it without any medical intervention, so I had to take these steps to make sure that he was able to breathe and that everything was okay. So once he was born, pat his back, get him to breathe. Like I said, it's a reflex for them to breathe. They gasp for air because they hit air. They've never felt air before. So once they hit it, their natural reflex is for them to breathe. So he breathed. Someone asked me about cutting the cord. Now, while I did not cut the cord right away, I can give you some tips on cutting the cord. I did a lotus birth, which is where you actually leave the placenta attached until the cord falls off. Now, what I did would actually be called a partial lotus birth, which I've never done before, either of them, because I did end up detaching it before his cord fell off. He does still have a little stump here. But the proper way, if you don't want to do the lotus birth, to cut the cord would be to get your string. They recommend like a shoelace or something similar. You have to sterilize it. You need to boil the string 5-10 minutes. You need to boil it in boiling water, and that will sterilize it. And you will tie off the cord about 2 inches from the navel, and then you're going to tie off another string about 1 inch from that, away from the navel. Now the first one's 2 inches, and so the second one would be 3 inches away from the navel, and then you're going to cut in between those two. Now make sure you tie it tight. You want to tie it really tight, and cut between the 2 strings. Now, before we jump into cutting the cord, I want everyone to consider leaving the placenta attached. Studies have shown that leaving the placenta attached can be beneficial for the baby, and the reason why is because the placenta continues to pump blood back into the baby. Now, if you've ever touched or felt the placenta, the umbilical cord before it's been cut, it pulsates. It has arteries running through it that transmit blood and other nutrients to the baby. So it's alive, and it's pulsating, and it's putting blood back into your baby. They say that when the placenta is left attached for at least 20 minutes, they recommend. I say at least an hour or two, but I believe between 20 minutes to an hour, your baby gets a pint of blood back into them. Now, pint might not sound like that much, but we're talking about an infant. We're talking about a little baby. I don't know exactly how much blood a baby carries when they're born, but a pint sounds like quite a bit to me, to allow that to pump back into them. So consider leaving it attached for at least an hour, and then cutting the cord. After that, don't tie it off or anything. Let that blood get back to him or her. So if you don't want to do the lotus birth, that's how you would cut the cord. What I ended up doing was I left it attached for about 2 days. I also do crocheting, so I crocheted a little bag, and I had some doggy pads, like the dog pads that they use the bathroom on, and I put that inside the bag to line it, and I put the placenta directly inside that pad, and I carried it around. I carried it around for a couple days, but what I ended up doing was putting ice on it. There's different ways to do the lotus birth. Some people want to encapsulate their placenta, which is known to help with hormones and whatnot. I will do a video on that as well. And some people make a tincture out of alcohol. And some people bury it back into the earth. And some people just throw it away. Some people eat it. I'm not doing that. But that's a lot of people's reasons for the lotus birth. So I was first going to encapsulate, which I may still do it. I actually have to do whatever I'm going to do today. But I do know that I'm going to do a tincture out of alcohol, and I'll do a video on that, to have that as a hormone replacement. Helps with breastfeeding, milk supply, postpartum blues, and etc. There's a number of things, and I'll make sure I get a list so I can make sure I mention everything when I do the video. But I ended up cutting it off on day 3. And the reason I cut it off was because I was back and forth, up and down with that bag and I had it on ice. I had it on ice, and it was heavy. It was heavy, trying to carry him, trying to carry the bag. You know, I didn't put proper straps on it or a handle on it, so it was even more complicated carrying it around. And then the umbilical cord being constantly exposed to air, it started drying up in the middle. It had got necrotic. It was black. And it was, I mean, it was dying. I mean, and that's normal. Just like the stump would turn black before it falls off. So what I ended up doing was cutting it. Well, I found the most necrotic part, the hardest part, and I cut it there. So he had a long stump at first, and as it died, and I made, like I said, I made sure it was completely dead. It was hard as a rock, and I cut it there. And I kept cutting it until I got about this much, about an inch and a half of stump left, and I left it alone. And so it curled up, and now we have a small stump that's actually getting ready to fall off. As I said, we're on day 6. He was born on Tuesday, and counting Tuesday. This is day 6, and he is thriving. He's thriving. He breastfed for 45 minutes in his first feeding, and my milk supply just started coming in for real day before yesterday. Well, day before yesterday evening, I had an overload of supply of milk. Yesterday it came in like crazy, and I was completely swollen like bad. Nothing crazy that I wasn't able to handle though. Trying to think of what other questions were asked. I gotta get used to this YouTube video thing. I gotta start writing things down so I know what to mention. But I do want to let everybody know that we're doing fine. Like I said, day 6. The kids are adjusting. Today is my first day coming outside. I stepped out here a couple of times for less than 30 seconds at a time. But today I said I need me some sunlight. I need me some fresh air. It's very warm out here today. I'm actually getting ready to go back in. But it does feel good to just come out here and get some air. Listen to the birds chirp. My baby chilling. Y'all see him with his little arm tucked back and all. He got his ladies' man shirt on today. And he's looking good, as you can see. He's good. He's healthy. Also, he did not lose hardly any weight once he was born. Now, remember, when you're in the hospital, they will tell you that babies can lose 7 to 10% of their birth weight. He was 7 pounds, almost to the T, basically 7 pounds. It was 7.08 ounces, so it wasn't even 1 whole ounce. So I just say 7 on the head. And when we weighed him the following day and the following day for like 3 days, he was 7.02. So he lost 0.05 ounces, or it's not even an ounce, you know. He lost 0.05 ounce, and that is incredible. So it basically means that he held his birth weight. He did not lose any weight whatsoever. Now, we have not weighed him since day 3. Me and my doula decided to give him a few days since he was just kind of holding his weight. He wasn't losing or gaining. We decided to wait a few days. So today's Sunday, and we're going to weigh him again on Tuesday, which will be 1 week. Technically day 8. However you want to call it. I'll call it day 8 on his 8th day. But it'll be 1 week. See how much he's gained. So I've been adjusting well. Just trying to relax. I've never had a doula before, but she has come into my life, and she is amazing. So I have a few videos I want to make, a few subjects I want to touch on. But just for starters, I just want to start off with a small update, like I said, on us. We're doing well. Everyone's adjusting. I did want to touch on people saying that my children should not have been there for him to be born. Now, I know that society has turned a lot of things into sexualization and whatnot, but the way that I'm raising my children and the way that I live is to understand that birth is the most natural thing that can happen. I showed my children a couple of birthing videos before Kismet was born, just to prepare them for the process. And I let them know, I'll be crying, I'll be yelling, I'm okay though. I am okay. So I did prepare them for this. Kids watch this stuff on Discovery Channel, these animals giving birth and all this. What makes it so unnatural for them to watch their own mother give birth? To watch the way that they came into the world, to see their sibling being born. I don't think that that's unnatural at all. My children were very helpful, and for the record, all of those kids were not mine. Oh, too many kids, somebody said. If I want 19 children, that's okay. You don't have to raise them, I do. But 2 of them were mine. 2 of them belong to my sister, my nephews. So everyone wanted to be a part of it. It was never discussed whether my nephews would be there, but they ended up being there. And everybody took it well. Nobody was freaked out. Nobody was scared. Nobody was traumatized. The only thing they know is their baby brother's here, their cousin is here, and they want to be a part of his life. And they were there to see him come into this world. I have changed these children's lives. They have a memory of something that a lot of people have never seen. Even with all the views that I have from my birth, and I have way more views on Facebook than I have on YouTube. Even adults have never seen that. So to be able to bless my children with that experience is just what I said, a blessing. So I don't question my decision. I think I made the right choice. I did a good job. And I thank everybody who congratulated me. I can't keep up with the comments. If you're on Facebook and you comment and I didn't say anything, I'm sorry. I can't keep up. There's so many comments, and it's just so beautiful to see so many people supporting me. I never thought that it would take off like this. And I am here to be an icon. I'm here to be an inspiration. I'm here to let women know that they can take back their bodies. Take back your body and be the woman that you were designed to be. Do what you were designed to do. Our bodies already know what to do. These animals give birth in nature every day by themselves. No medical intervention. They don't need doctors. What makes you think that an animal can do something? Are you not more intelligent than an animal? Than an ape? Those are the ones that are similar to us, they say. So be confident in yourself and knowing that you can do this. Don't be afraid. Your body knows what to do. My sister asked me, what does it feel like to push? How do you know when it's time to push? You just know. It's a very natural feeling. I can't say exactly what it is. There's a certain amount of pressure. And the only thing I can say it's close to is when you're getting ready to have bowel movement. And you feel the bowels, you feel your intestines contracting up, and you feel the bowel coming down, and you're like, oh, I gotta go now. Right before it comes out, the baby feels the same way. It's about to come out. And what do you do when it's about to come out? You push it out. And it's the same way with having a baby. I'm telling you. How can it feel like a bowel movement? That's what it feels like. I mean, it don't feel like that, but it's the same type of feeling that you have the urge to push. So you push. Breathe and push. And for the record, the yelling in my video released some kind of tension. It definitely helped through the contractions. I never yelled like that. I mostly grunted and doing all that when I had babies. And I've had medication with my other births too, all but one. But with my son, who I did naturally as well, it was a lot of grunting, and I did yell a little bit. But since I was home, in my own bathtub, in my own house, I was comfortable enough to yell. Like I said,